everyone. Today we have here Kamryn Alyse. She's an incredible healing massage therapist. And not just that, she's also a creative artist and an entrepreneur, an all-rounder. So Kamryn, would love to hear a little bit about your journey and what brings you here.
Yes, so thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to be here. And so my journey getting into massage. So I've been massaging for about 8 years now.
Oh, wow.
And I would say a lifetime because this is part of my gift that I've discovered 8 years ago, but it is instilled in me. So it's just, I recognize my gift 8 years ago. And I've been a dancer since I was young and just into movement. I've always been very active. And the body and movement is super important to me. And I recognize that the importance of movement as well with energy and moving that around. So like my form of meditation can be dance, So me having that as a form of meditation has been really great for me.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about your healing impact, like across all dimensions. I know you mentioned that you're a healing massage therapist in such a comprehensive way where you're addressing physical, emotional, and energetic aspects. So can you share maybe, I would say, example that crosses your mind when you think of maybe you made a difference in someone's life?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few. Like a lot of times, what I love when people, the one comment that I've gotten from a lot of people is that this was the best massage they've ever received.
Wow.
And so that to me is very powerful because one, it shows me that I'm doing and I'm sharing my gift and it's being received. And with massage as well, I think it's also important to know that when I am doing this healing work, it's also a joint partnership, in everything. So it's like, I'm not just coming, placing hands on you and healing you. Like your body's doing the work. I'm like, literally, I always give this analogy of jumpstart, like a kickstart to your vehicle.
Yeah.
So I'm literally just jumpstarting your car. I'm jumpstarting your body because we already had that energy flowing through us. But now I'm just like, I have the energy to jumpstart yours. So I'm able to touch you and your body's like, okay, we're acting, if you're ready to receive that healing, you're going to receive it and we're going to work together.
So you have to obviously you have to create a safe place for everyone, and also they have to be able to be open to you healing them, and they have to first be open with themselves so that in that way they can come to you and you can support them.
Yes.
Their process of healing, I guess.
Absolutely.
And so then emotional transformation in therapy, can you describe maybe some sort of a memorable experience or instance where a client experienced a significant emotional transformation during or after a therapy session? As you mentioned, they've said, oh, this is the best massage I've ever received. But have they come back to you and maybe shared their experience?
Yeah, so I have a few. One, I will share, I have a client and so a lot of people will release physically too, or if they store trauma in certain areas and I massage that area, they may cry on the table. So I did have a client and just stored trauma in certain areas. And as I massage these areas, the client is releasing. And I always encourage my clients to release. So if anything, and always breathing through that, because that's going to allow you to release, because it is trauma stored in our body. So sometimes when I touch someone, they're like, oh, I'm having visions or I'm thinking of these things and now it's coming out. So I've had, a few clients cry on the table. So that was very transformative in that, just already in the session happening. And then after the session, they'll also explain to me, that was amazing, and just kind of share what they were going through. So I think that's super powerful. And
that is
and then they come back. So it's I'm doing what I'm here to do, which is nice. It's a nice reward.
Right. And then that's their way of releasing, as you mentioned, because we do hold a lot of traumas, whether it's childhood or our adulthood, whatever it might be. I believe most of the trauma that we hold goes to our hips too.
Women.
Yes, for women. And again, for that, what I really enjoy doing is hot yoga as well. Aside from getting massages, just getting going into the hot yoga class and being able to just release all of the tension our body holds, because all the stress that we go through on our day-to-day basis, we hold all of that within our body. So it's just being able to release that is so important.
So important. Because it just... And I also I practice both Western and Eastern medicine, or bodywork, I'll say, practices. And Western approach is very interesting because they don't really focus on the energetic and the energy lines of our bodies.
Not
they don't really focus on that. They're focusing on like
taking the medicine.
Yeah, taking medicine. And also when it comes to body work, it's like, okay, we're gonna be doing these strokes, but it's nothing deeper than, you know, the surface. It's I mean, yeah, deep tissue. I'm not being like, deep tissue, yes, but I mean like literally like deeper than the surface of the understanding and the knowledge of, you know, like for Eastern medicine. So I went to Thailand and I studied out there. Oh. And it's so interesting because I learned Thai yoga massage, and they literally showed you charts of energy lines in your body. And I didn't even, like, I knew about that, but like actually seeing
everything is connected.
It's like connected. Everything's connected. Like I already knew everything's connected, but like actually seeing the lines from here and working and actually working on each line on the body, it just made me think differently. Yeah. And it was like, oh, my actual body practice and things that I'm more geared to is Eastern practice and medicine. And I combine the both, but I lean more so on Eastern medicine because it makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. And it just reminds me of like, I used to have this pinched nerve, shooting pain down the right part of my body. And I realized over time, I'm like, okay, nothing is helping. Comes and goes, and it was just really bothersome on a day-to-day basis. It was very hurtful. And eventually I realized, I'm like, it's all in the mind too.
Literally.
Like it's all in the mind. Literally. When I started doing things to like de-stress, then that pinched nerve went away. And I remember like, you know, talking to like one of my close friends, like she was also mentioning, she's like, just meditation and being able to like meditate and like focus on meditation, just cold plunges or anything you can do for your body, do it.
Exactly.
And again, like massages and like hot yoga, that was transformational for me.
Yeah, a lot of people have the mentality that massage is a luxury, and it's not. I don't think that is a luxury. So I also offer couples massage workshops, and this is not only to intimate couples, but this could be for a mom and a daughter. It could be for sisters, brothers, friends. So it's just really to get people to connect more with their bodies, and then also understand things that they can do at home and techniques that they can do for themselves versus having to be in this Western medicine and taking medicine. Like I avoid medicine at all costs. Can you
recommend like one strategy or one technique for everyone to like implement into their daily life?
Yeah, this is your temporal lobe, which is right on the sides of your eye. So if you go by your eye, literally the corner of your eye, and you just go slightly out. Yeah. This is going to be your temporal lobe, right? So then also when you take this and you kind of go into where your scalp is and into your hair,
it feels so good as I'm doing this.
Also here is going to be in your temporal lobe. So you can literally massage this entire area, and it's just so relaxing. So you can apply a lot of pressure, you can massage your own scalp, but really just doing this, and then also relieving any sinus issues in here in your nose, right here with your eyebrow, where your eyebrow and your nose meet, is really great to just release any simple tension.
That's good to know. I think I'll definitely share that tip with my mom because she has a lot of sinus issues, and that happens with me too, especially with allergies nowadays. So just being able to like have these tips rather than always relying on medication. It's a good idea to do things naturally first, and if that doesn't work, then maybe you can rely on.
I have a good one too. Like I have two more. I'm like, I gotta
sure.
I will also say with hips, like, because a lot of us, we sit a lot, right? So a lot of times we're sitting in cars, we're sitting at a computer, we're just sitting. And the positions of sitting is just not normal. Right. So to work on our hips, if you are sitting, this is a great thing to do. You can literally, I have leggings on under here.
No worries.
But yeah, so what we do, we can literally just cross, if you can,
that feels
cross your
already.
leg here.
Yeah.
And what you're going to do, you're going to feel your hip literally on the side of your IT band and literally your hip. You should already start to feel it. If you want to feel more of a deep stretch, you're going to take your hands. If you have the access to, most people, if you don't, some people may not have the access to go in between their legs, but you can just go and just rest your arms over your legs. But you'll still feel this start to pull.
No, absolutely.
If you want deeper, you literally take your hands and you go inside.
Oh,
and
wow.
you should start to
feel it. Yes,
you'll like
right
feel a stretch. Yeah. And it's like, that'll help with your hips.
And I think for me, this, like, especially this area, not just for me, but a lot of people, they're very tight. So you need to be able to like be consistent with the stretches, and as simple as sitting down and just being able to do this. Yeah,
like if you're at a computer, you can do this. You know what I'm saying? You
can totally. Take a little 1 minute break. Yeah.
Take literally and that's important too with self-care and just in general is knowing to take breaks and rest. Like
ultimately, the number one thing is self-care. Like,
Yes.
how do we take care of ourselves?
Yes.
Along with all these goals that we have in our
Yes.
life, like being able to do that. And nothing comes easy. You have to work hard.
Right.
And with working hard, you have to be able to really sit down with yourself, relax a bit, meditate,
Right.
be with yourself,
Yes.
feel whole again, and then you can progress.
Yes.
So I was just going to mention a little bit about self-care. I know you mentioned all these strategies and tips and things you do, but I mean things that other people can apply. Is there one thing that you do on a day-to-day basis for yourself to remain happy, relaxed, calm, collected?
A few things. For daily practices, I journal for the most part.
Okay.
I journal daily. Most days, I will say. There's
That's
some days
great.
I skip. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, But
Love
for
the
most
honesty.
But for the most part, I'm journaling, and that's a way for me to release.
Okay.
And it's nice because I do, and especially with massage therapy and just like what I do and moving around, I work alone a lot of times, so I'm not really like having to sit with someone the whole time. Like, yeah, I'm working on a body, but I'm doing energetic healing. Like, it's just a different type of, and I could be drained after a session depending on how much energy I'm investing in this, or just like how much energy I'm putting out, or the energy that's being exchanged with that person, because some people can be draining. So after a certain session, if I don't like set a protective barrier for myself, I will be drained. So one thing I also do for a self-care practice, I mean, I know some people maybe not shower daily, but I have to, because if I'm working on someone, I have to physically release that energy.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
And this may sound crazy, whatever, but there was one day, I honestly, and it was recently, I was so tired one day, and I had a massage, and I massaged someone, and I did not shower that night.
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't do my ritual. Like, I didn't, like, I showered the morning, but I just didn't do the night. You know, after my massages, I like to shower after my massages.
Right, just like cleanse.
That energy, I like to cleanse. So I didn't shower that night. And I had a dream about my client. Like, my client literally walked into my dream. And I'm a very vivid dreamer as well. So I'm like in my
what's
dream,
happening? Like I do this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Now I'm dreaming about
it. I'm like literally like sitting here, and I'm in my dream, and I'm like, when I'm in my dreams, I'm a vivid dreamer, but I'm also aware that I'm dreaming. So I'll be like, what? I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm in my dream talking to my client, like, wait, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then when I rose up in the morning, I'm like, well, I didn't do my ritual. I didn't literally like cleanse off the energy from my client. I didn't even energetically do that, what I normally do. And so that is important to me, because if I don't, then I'm going to be having other people's energy on me. And it's like other people's energies can be leeches. And they will just travel and be with you until, so it's very important for me as a massage therapist to make sure that I am protecting myself when I massage. So those self-care practices that I'm doing is daily. Like after massages, I'm showering at the end of the night just to flush off the energy from the day.
I wanted to talk a little bit about friendships and personal growth. Would you say that all of your friends, or majority of your friends, at least the circle that you have at the moment, are they supportive with your professional achievements or how you're progressing in your career?
Yeah, I would definitely say my friends are definitely supporters for sure. And we all, and it's so interesting because we all do different, we're in different, different
like yoga, massage, and this.
Someone over here doing marketing. Like, we got hair care. I'm doing massage, so it's like we're all in our different pockets, but we all are here to support one another. And I actually have a friend, AJ, shout out to AJ. And she was actually my mentor in college. And she's mentor turned friend, sister, like amazing.
That's
and she
beautiful.
has her hair care line, super dope. And so her and I we started, I want to say last year, maybe around this time, or like October. It's been a year. We've been holding each other accountable, even though we're not in the same brackets of, same, like she's in hair care, I'm in massage. So it's like,
different lines,
Yeah, but it's like we're able to come together and still support one another and hold each other accountable with our goals.
And it's fun too, because you guys are in different fields, so you can come together, collaborate, and talk about, your own different practices.
It's so nice to do that. So like, I want to start implementing that with more of my friends. Like I have another friend, we're like, okay, we got to get on our workout tip. Like, like, let's start doing yoga. Like, let's start doing this. Let's just commit to something. So
definitely,
I think now I'm more in tune with like that accountability with my friends, because I also noticed that, like you said, consistency is key.
Yeah.
And like, you can be as consistent as you can and the thing is, it's like my thing is consistency.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's the key word
definitely.
for me, too.
And having an amazing support system. Yes.
Because you can be consistent, and then it's like, but it's nice to have support.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, okay, I'm consistent, but like, damn, where's the support? But the support is there. It's just now I have to do my part. And
yeah,
just be consistent,
totally. Of
you know?
course.
So
and family and friends, they support you.
Yeah.
And if they are supportive, that benefits us because that during our tough days, we need to be able to lean on someone for someone to like push us a little bit. Like, hey, what you're doing is amazing. Like, keep going, keep pushing, keep at it. And to me, like, as you mentioned, like a shout out to one of your friends, shout out to my best friend, Katie. She has been incredibly supportive in a lot of ways. I mean, I have many friends, like Cheryl's one of them, Katie's one of them. I talk to my friend Katie on a day-to-day basis, and like we send each other audios like, hey, this is what happened today, and like constantly just like, we're keeping each other on track, whether it's to work out. Like, oh, I did 3 miles today. How many miles did you do? How many steps did you get? And I'm like, oh, I got 20,000 steps. Oh, well, you know what? I'm going to get 25. So it's like we're constantly like, keeping each other motivated and driven. And I think that's a beautiful thing, like being able to have a support system like that, and where friends are just encouraging to one another. And then now to change up the topic a little bit, have you had people that you had to cut off?
Definitely go through seasons. And people know me.
Yeah.
They know I go through seasons. And I definitely know for me, it's boundaries. And I sometimes let my boundaries go through the cracks, and I'm like, oh, well, I've known this person for so long, and like,
oh, I do that all the time.
I love this person, like, oh, they did that, but maybe I'm not gonna bring.
But
this
then
up.
their energy's off.
Like,
they're not happy for you.
Like,
then why am I friends with them?
Off. Like, something's
totally.
off, and I'm feeling, and I'm just So like now I'm at a place where. Yeah, like certain things that just don't sit right with where I'm at currently. I definitely like to let those people just go. Because I'm like, if this isn't assisting me on my ascension, then this is just holding me back.
And I think it takes a strong person to recognize that and to be able to let that go. Because there are so many moments where we're like, oh, as you mentioned, I've known this person for 10, 15 years. But it's like, we're on a different wavelength now. And because we're on a different wavelength, different seasons. So you know what?
But also recognizing when something just doesn't sit right with your spirit. When it does, and I feel like sometimes like there's been moments I've ignored my spirit, and I'm like, I see what happens when you ignore your spirit, and it's just like it's nothing positive comes out of that when you ignore it.
I feel like there should be a whole another podcast on this one where when that really resonated with me when you mentioned that, because there's been so many times where I'm friends with someone, and every time and again, maybe having a friendship for 10 years or whatnot, and you see a lot of good in the person, and you're like, oh, like you give them the benefit of the doubt. And then whenever you hang out with them and then you leave, you have this weird feeling in your gut. Like, I just don't feel good about, I just don't feel like they have the best intentions. And for the longest time, I was fighting that, where I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I have a negative mindset. Maybe, and you self-blame.
Like, you're like, it's like really, you do the reflecting. You're like, wait a minute.
No, it's not them. It's just me. It's me.
And it's just like, then you go down this pattern of like, oh, it's me. And it's
self-doubt.
Like,
self-doubt. And then eventually you realize you're like, hold up. All the amazing, incredible human beings in my life, anytime we've had a conversation or we've hung out and then I left, I felt incredible. I felt amazing. You feel like something heavy has just been lifted off. And anytime I've hung out with someone who holds me down or pushes me back, then I'm like, okay, you know what? Why did I end up opening up with this person? Why did I share my life story with this person? And that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I really need to be smart with who I associate who I give my time to, and who appreciates me, and I appreciate them back.
Exactly. I do both in-home table massages or just at my studio, and then I also do a lot of chair massage. So chair massage, I can go to a corporate office and I'm massaging many people. So what I've noticed is that a lot of times, especially with chair massages, because I'm seeing quite a bit of people at the same, in a short time.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, it's interesting. Sometimes I might feel like I'm in my own head and I'm like, am I in my own head because I do experience these things daily? So like, am I in my own head about like, kind of just like overthinking, like, are they just looking at me because I'm black? Da, 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 da. It's like those things do come up, but at the same time, I do feel the energy, and sometimes the energy is like, you're a black woman, you're a massage therapist. Like, how long have you been massaging? Like, I get those questions, like,
so
and it's interesting. I'll feel the energy already, and then the questions start coming. I already know, like, like, and especially when I get it from
and
people.
it could be a person who's just asking to just ask versus a person like where you feel
like genuinely
energy where you're like, damn, like
they just genuinely want to know.
Like I don't feel right.
Yeah, you can genuinely can genuinely sense when people are actually like, oh wow, like you're great. Like how long you been doing this? Like this is really dope. Or you can tell when people are just asking questions to benefit them or with their own curiosity and their own their own judgments in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, and so I kind of feel through that. So a lot of times people, I personally feel, like I said, I don't know if I'm just in my own head, but sometimes I do feel an energy if people are just looking at me like, you're a black woman, like, I usually go to the Thai spots. You know what I mean? Are you good? You know what I mean? And I get that. So like, and it's interesting because when I do massage, it's like I have to prove myself. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm in a state of proving myself. And it's like, why do I have to prove myself?
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like after the massage, I see a change in energy with people. Sometimes if they come in the massage, they're looking at me, they're like, okay, like, I don't know if I can, trust her, or you know what I mean? And then they get on the table, I'm done with my massage, and they're just like, they're looking at me with different.
Incredible.
They're like, it's literally different energy. Like their eyes are different. Like I feel a different energy from them. They're like, and I'm so open and welcoming and just like warm. So I don't ever make people feel like, even though I felt your energy from the beginning, I know and I sense that, but I know that I'm here to do my work and I'm not really here to prove myself, but I know that you needed some kind of proving from me. Everybody, it's we go through like probably 3 seconds of judgment. When you first see somebody, it's like quick judgment. Like, that person's wearing that. Oh, that person looks good. Like, oh, that person, da da da. Of course. It's always quick judgment. So it's like, for me, it's judgment. It literally is judgment. I don't really judge people. For massage, it's kind of challenging because I see so many different backgrounds of people. So I try not to even go in with judging. Right. You know what I mean? I'm like, I see so many bodies. I'm like, I don't have no room to judge bodies. You know what I mean? Like what somebody looks like or butt size. And I don't do that. It's just like, it's out of my head. I'm like beyond that. Totally. But I can understand why people do judge me as a black woman. It's like, oh, like, and I get it. Some people are like, I just want to make sure that I'm in a safe space. I'm being taken care of. And I just do the best for me. Personally, I do the best that I can to make sure that people feel safe because massage is very vulnerable. So I can understand why people may have a hesitation as to, but it kind of sucks because it's like, I'm a black woman. So it's like, are you just looking at me because like I'm a black woman? The foundation of whatever it is has to be secure. Yeah. And even if it's like, even if we're building on this foundation, like, how are we handling one another or how are we interacting with one another throughout these times? And how do we handle one another? Like, do we handle each other with care, with compassion, with love, with ease and grace? Or are we handling each other with like, frustration and projection and temper? It's just like, what kind of relationship are we creating? And for me, I definitely am I need a stable foundation. I'm a little Capricorn. I'm a goat. I'm like stable foundation. Like love. Like love has to be present in all things that we do. So if those things aren't present, it's like everything's just like this.
I agree. Yeah. The people that we attract in our life, they need to be good for our soul. And if they're not good for our soul, then it's like, goodbye.
Yeah. I like to view myself as a tree because, and even with people, I view people as like the leaves and the branches and the leaves on my tree. So I am the tree. I have my branch. I'm here. I'm stable. You know, that's how stable we should be. Everything else that's here, we should know, okay, I'm bearing fruit. We got a rotten fruit over here. You know, there's somebody in my life that's not they're literally rotten. Right. Now, if we continue to keep this rotten fruit because we want to hold the rotten fruit on the, on the branch, it's going to literally travel, the fungus now is going to travel onto the branch and then it's going to come all the way to the roots. And it's like, drop it, let it go, let it go. So I view myself as a tree and with friendships and whatever, family too. Like sometimes things are seasonal. Like if I need to just separate myself from certain things, I will do so because it's my peace of mind and it's seasons, and I think it is important to know that as a human, and it's okay to shed. It's okay to shed. It's okay to let go. Yeah. Even if it's like letting go your past version of yourself. Yes. The old version. And I think we have to understand that too, because we go through this process of, just life and death within ourselves. Even when we're still breathing and we have that breath, we're still going through a life and death process in the living state. So it's like, okay, every day we're like, dang, I'm moving past that old behavior. I don't even do that habit no more. Or I recognize that I do this. Now I'm going to change that. Yeah. So now you're like, kind of like you're knocking off and killing that old self, that old habit. You're like knocking it down. So it's like, now you are shedding. Now, if you're thinking of yourself as a tree, that habit that wasn't the best anymore, or that fruit, that habit, quote unquote, now you're seeing that it's toxic and it's a fruit and it's starting to rot. You got to let it go.
Let it go.
You know what I mean?
Last but not the least, Kamryn, I would love to know a little bit about like whatever we've shared, and like as we conclude our conversation, reflecting on your journey and the insights you've shared, what's the most significant lesson or piece of advice you'd offer to anyone seeking healing, self-discovery, or even personal growth?
I would definitely say the one thing that's coming to me is understanding and knowing yourself.
Wow.
Like, I feel like that is literally the journey that I'm on, like, and sticking with myself. Don't ever neglect yourself. I think, the best advice I can give to someone is never neglect yourself. I neglected myself before, or at least just like I just avoided listening to my inner guidance, and if you don't hear your inner guidance.
What do you mean by that? Can you give an example?
And I would say like just intuition, when you hear those thoughts of like, oh, don't do that, do this, I kind of ignore those, and especially in intimate spaces, and I kind of let my boundaries just slip through the cracks. And I would just say to not forget who you are in any space that you're in. Uphold your boundaries. And if you don't know that, sit with yourself. Like, be comfortable with yourself. I think a lot of times now people are not okay with sitting with themselves and being comfortable with themselves. Even in a relationship, people don't know how to separate themselves from their relationship and just be by themselves. They don't even know who they are. They only know me and my relationship. So
that's it.
Yeah. So what I can say is just like to always remember who you are. Losing a sense of your power. Like, do not become powerless because of someone else. And I feel like that is something that I'm understanding a lot more and I'm leaning into more. So it's just like, don't lose a sense of yourself. Have your boundaries. Know what it is that you want, your dislikes. You know what I mean? And be okay with that. Even as a kid. Exactly. And I think it's important when you have kids to let them know as a parent. Because a lot of times parents think that, and just us, like with our parents, we feel like, we have to like make sure we are satisfying our parents in a way. And it's like, no. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, yes, like I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. Yeah. But at the same time, I am my own being. You raised me. But I am completely an individual, and I think that we have to also understand that as well. Even in spaces when we are in an intimate space, like our partner is an individual, but we are coming together as partnership to build. And so remembering that, but remembering your individuality. So I think that's the best thing I can share
and not
with people.
Always seeking validation from everyone else.
Like from outside.
From outside.
Yes.
Like we need to be able to like validate ourselves.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing.
Yes.
Like, okay, you know what? How do I feel about the situation? What can I do to make the situation better?
Absolutely.
And whether, like, you know, there's like the right results come into the picture or not, you're still trying your best.
Absolutely. And women, our intuition is like, it's so top notch. Like, our intuition is so top notch. Yeah. So it's like, not ignoring
men might not agree with that.
Yeah, men may not agree, but it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, like, it's so important to not ignore that intuition. For me personally, I feel like when I do have moments of like being in the fog and kind of like allowing my intuition to just kind of like hear the whispers.
Yeah.
You know, like I hear it, it's loud, but then I'm just like allowing it to fade off in the distance and I'm not listening.
Yeah.
I get physically damaged when, and it's like, because the universe is like, I'm going to I'm going to spiritually check you, which is just your intuition. Your intuition is like, that's not it. And it's simple.
Yeah.
And then when we don't hear that, then we start to feel it emotionally, right? So then whatever we're in, we start to feel emotionally like, oh, damn. Like, even if it's ourselves, even if it's our own habits, even if it's our spending habits, like, we start to feel it ourselves, right? So it's like, damn, like, I'm feeling kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah,
Western and Eastern practices is so interesting, but in the Western world, I feel like anxiety has risen.
Yeah,
and I'm like, 10 years ago, I didn't have anxiety.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wasn't this person like, I have anxiety.
I didn't even know what anxiety was until everyone started talking about it.
And so now it's like,
oh my God,
it's like
for
everybody has anxiety now, and it's like interesting. It's like, dang, like everybody's feeling some kind of anxiety to a degree. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I hear more often a lot of people are having some form of just anxiety or just some kind of like, I feel uneasy.
I don't even feel like people use it in the right context.
Right context, so.
A lot of the times, like, people are just like, oh, I have anxiety for X, Y, and Z. It's like, is there really anxiety?
Is it that? Right.
Or you're just
using
like,
it,
yeah, exactly.
Because some people do use that as like, kind of like a cloak.